So, I think it's just ridiculous that I think it's ridiculous now if you're trying to find some type of program that help you with your mental illness or your disability or disabled or whatever. You gotta have health insurance. It's just crazy. It's just very crazy. I don't understand that. You're pushing people more and more and more to against the wall. Before you know it, all these people are going to run around going crazy because they're not getting any help. And then sadly, half of these people who have mental illness go to jail, go to prison. And the prisons and jails, they used to have a separate jail and prison back in the day for mental illness people. But now, because of money or budgeting or whatever, I call it greed again. And because of that situation, they cut down a lot of jails and prisons specifically for mental illness. Now mental illness people are combined in prisons and jails, which is another dangerous thing. It's like now, like United States, and I don't know about the world. I know some countries are trying to get better with this, but it seems like everybody's going backwards instead of forward. People with mental illness are not crazy people. They're not. It's just something in the chemical of their brain and body just went out of balance. That's all that is. And it's sad and unfortunate that these people have to continue suffering because now people are asking for health insurance. And now there's not a lot of resources out here. I went to Richmond one day walking with my friends, and it was this big, beautiful building, and it's abandoned. And there was these homeless people sleeping outside in the cold. Me and my friends were pissed because we're like, you got to be kidding me. This is a perfect building to help homeless people to get a job, feed them, educate them. Like they can get their high school diploma in there or go to college in this abandoned building. But instead, the Richmond County, Richmond, just wants to let it sit there, and then they're going to figure out to make it rich, meaning make it to a restaurant, a strip club, a club, or a gentleman's club. Make it to something not useful. And I get so mad when I travel in my state of Virginia that I see these abandoned houses and buildings and nobody don't want to do nothing good about it. Because everybody wants money. Don't get me wrong, we all want to get paid. But there is a thing called the moving wheel. If you do this, it will come back to you. Somebody will sponsor you. Somebody's going to, do donation and see what you're trying to do. There are other good doctors, dentists, nurses, specialist doctors out here who will love to help people with mental illness. I think they can't move nowhere because everybody wants to get paid, or everybody wants to get famous, or everybody wants notoriety. It don't seem like nobody want to do something from the heart now these days. Everybody wants to have a damn award. The award would be to be less violence, people be more educated, there be less deaths, and not only that, there be less homeless people in the United States. Because when you do all of that and you clean all of that, the economy start to grow, people start to invent this stuff, stuff started to come pretty good for the American, society or around the world. I mean, my God, you got to help first. You know what I'm saying? That's just like when you start a new job. You're not going to know everything, right? But you can learn through the progress. And once you learn through the progress, then your manager do another task for you. Then you get more money. Then you do another task. Then you get more money. You see how it goes? It's just the same way to help people with mental illness problems. So if I was rich and I see an abandoned building, I would build that for the youth. Give them everything they need in knowledge. I would start from the poverty area because I see why my teachers told me long ago. They say knowledge is the key. And they wasn't lying about that, because there's not a lot of people out here who knows about mental illness and disorders and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that don't know those kind of things. Hell, even middle class people still don't know a lot of things about mental illness, and they got internet right in their house. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, knowledge is the key. If you could imagine in the world that we live that everybody knows a lot about different types of mental illness, the world probably would have been a much open mind. You know, I'm not saying the world's not an open mind, but the world is like cut in 50-50, because you got people who still throw people with mental illness in jails and prisons, put them in the, the loony bin, or put them in terrible therapy and stuff. I was trying to say asylum. That's what I was trying to say. Put them in an asylum and stuff. Like, they just act like, for some people, they just toss the mental illness like a daggone trash and put them in a dumpster. No, we need to help these people. Now, most people will argue. They would say, well, Jasmine, what happens when these people don't want help? That's fine. If they don't want help, let them go. You don't force nobody to do something that they don't want to do. However, I put my money on it that there's a lot of people who do want help, who are looking for help. But like I say, you got to have money. You got to have insurance. You got to have some type of government assistance. Or you got to have some type of case manager. You got to have all this other crap just to have some help. But what you could imagine in the world, you could step through a door and somebody could just help you just like that, give you your medication, find out what your diagnosis is, get you on your feet, help you get a car, help you get your license. Most people say, well, that's handicap. In my eyes, that's not handicap nobody. Because in my eyes, I see everybody in the whole freaking world is trying to survive, is trying to get better, is control their illness, is control something of their lifestyle. People are trying left and right. It's just that everywhere you go, there's a freaking brick wall or some type of steel metal door. It's shut so tight you can't even open it, because you gotta go through all this BS. So people turn the other way to do stuff, which that makes the justice system happy, because they can lock more people up in jail and prison to make more money out of it. It's a sad, sad world we live in. And I'm not rich, and I wish I was, because this is what I would be doing. I would have helped people. I will, help the youth. Because people, one more last note about this. People think today's generation gone crazy. Yeah, eating Tide Pods, that's a little crazy. I don't know what the hell somebody be thinking eating some damn Tide Pods. That's just absurd. But they think the youth gone crazy. And some are they're copycatter. They do anything to get attention. And there's some that are really messed up in the head. And those are the ones that I would love to help, because all this anger, all this killing, all this bullying and fighting, something's going on in their home, their school, or the people that they're clicking with. You see, once again, society got so bad with this social media that everybody wants to fit in. Everybody wants to be popular. Everybody wants to be known. But at the same time, there are some evil people looking around to take advantage of you, steal your shine, steal your spirit, and even steal in your mind and your poor decisions. When I say poor decisions, they're like, oh man, go ahead and do that. You be famous on YouTube. And they don't tell them the consequences, because they just want to ride, And they know if this person gets popular, then they will get a lot of money off of it. Which the conclusion, people think there's something wrong with you when you do stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? For views, for anything to put on the camera. My point is, I think some youth people have some type of disorder. I believe some of you people have some type of mental illness. Most people say, well, they get tested and what happened, there's nothing there. Quite frankly, that's good. There ain't nothing there. But do you realize there's emotional, there's something unbalanced in the brain? There's a lot of things you can speculate when somebody act like this. Dramatize and stuff. But most people like, oh, a perfect home, they don't fight, they don't argue with this and that. True, but that internet is an evil, devious place. I'm telling you, that internet is the worst place, and it can mess up somebody's mind. That's why you hear on the news when you hear some crazy teenager kill people, but they live a very perfect life, and they don't have no violence, there's no alcohol, drugs abuse in the home. It's that freaking internet. And then make it worse, it's the poor people that you hang out with, the poor crowd. The crowd of people who are misjudging you and tell you what to do. That mess up your mind. Like, our brains, I don't think people realize, our brains are so daggone sensitive with decisions and all that kind of stuff. It can really mess you up. And people are like, oh, I thought they had a mental illness. They don't show no mental illness. No, sometimes it's not a mental illness. This is the reason why I wish we had more youth programs or buildings or centers and stuff like that, so we can help them, teach them, guide them. Because right now they don't have a lot of guidance. Right now they're looking up all these YouTubers for guidance. Right now they're looking for celebrity for guidance. And I hate to say it, don't get me wrong, you can look at somebody as a guidance, but I think the most promising guidance, if you do have a good teacher, that should be your guidance. If you believe in God and you have, or any kind of religion, if a pastor, now he has to be in good spirits, because there are a lot of shady pastors out there. But if you have a good spirit pastor, that's somebody you should follow. If you're somebody who's a go-getter, a focused person, somebody who challenged yourself to climb that ladder, somebody is determined to get where they're trying to go, somebody who speaks positive words, great wisdom, great encouragement, all that kind of stuff. Somebody you see as a go-getter, have 2 jobs, or have a job or go to college, or go to trade school and try to get a job. If you see somebody who's so determined and so progressive on their life, that's the type of person you need to find guidance. Not all these crazy people on famous on television, YouTube, or whatever you watch. Those people don't give you no guidance. However, like I say, if the person you do watch or whatever give good wisdom talk, spiritual talk, and common sense talk, then please follow them. But once again, human beings are so pressured by the popularity. But back to my mental illness. This is where the mental illness, when I say comes early, sometimes it's not genetic. Like I say, sometimes it can happen from a dramatizing thing that happens before. We need to help one another. We need to educate one another. And we need to do it now. We need to educate the police. We need to educate the school system. Because schools are way behind all this stuff. It's so bad that we have to talk about transgender. LGBT community. Disability people. That would be my next video I'm going to talk about. Because the disability people are not getting talked a lot in social media or the media or anywhere else. It's like disability people are right off the dust. And disabled people too. These are people who work hard every day and try to make a living too. And mental illness people are the same way. And my final note, one of my friends, he has many mental illness issues with him. He was trying to take his life. He went to a pawn shop, asked the gun owner to, give him a gun. He showed his license. And thank God with this strict law where If anybody who has a mental illness trying to buy a gun, the police or background check can check them out. The gun owner can turn them down or call the police, which this pawn shop guy did. He called the police, notified the police that there was somebody who had a mental illness and he was trying to purchase a gun. Thank God this law does work. And there's some idiots out here trying to take this law. Say like if that law, that background check never came, I would never see my friend. But since there's a law, a background check to check people who have mental illness, that saved my friend's life. The cop talked to him. He changed his whole life around. What happened was he wanted to take his life because he couldn't stand the fact that he had a mental illness, and he couldn't stand the fact that he was different. But he found God, and he thanked God for the gun owner in that pawn shop did not sell that gun. I thank God for that pawn shop owner because he didn't care. He cared about this person's well-being. He didn't care about the money. He like, oh my God, this person, who knows what he's about to do, So, that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? And thank God for background checks. But there's a downside with mental illness. It's that when people are trying to get a job or whatever, they get turned down a lot. Depends on your mental illness or whatever. Some people with mental illness get a felony or whatever, a misdemeanor or whatever, because of the things that they did. And they get shut down by different companies. I think that's not fair. Because if this person is working hard, cleaning up their self, trying to be the best that they can to make their life a lot better, then give them a second chance. And I'm going to come back with my final thought.